So we have had a lot of questions that we weren't able to answer in our live Q&A. So we thought we'd spend some time going through as many as we can that haven't been answered. I'm Daisy, and here with some more wonderful colleagues who I will ask to give a little wave and hello. Jon, our head of safari.
Hello.
Matt, the lead keeper of lakes and birds.
Hello.
And John Ovens, lead keeper of Animal Adventure.
Hello.
So starting off with a question with bite, John Ovens. Theo, aged 4 from Broadstone, wants to know what our Cuban crocodiles are called.
Hi Theo. So yes, we have 2 Cuban crocodiles here at Longleat. We have 2 females and they are called Fang and KO. And I actually have my crocodile mug which I've been drinking out of. So Fang is the larger of the 2. KO is a little bit smaller, but yeah, doing really well. We feed them once a week, get a varied diet of meat, but yeah, both doing really well.
Thanks so much, John. And a bit fluffier now, not so many fangs. Kevin, Edgar's wife Tina, wants to know if there's any news about koala babies.
Yeah, so this will be our first proper season when it comes to breeding koalas. So the really good weather we've had over the last couple of weeks has actually encouraged the koalas to come into season. So Burke, our mature male, has spent a little bit of time in with the girls. He's had a couple of first dates, and yeah, very promising. We won't know. Koalas, obviously being marsupials, they give birth to this little weird jelly bean creature after about 36 days, and then all the growing happens in the pouch. So for the first month, potentially we won't even know if they are pregnant or not. So I'm holding our breath. So hopefully, yeah, hopefully in the near future we may well have some koala babies.
Fingers crossed. Thank you very much, John. And actually, you do have a dream job that many people want, John Ovens. So Sophie, aged 11, wants to know what qualification do you need to be a koala keeper?
Yeah, so being a koala keeper, it's a lot of hard work. I mean, you need to be sent to Australia for 3 months and work out there and do all your training. So lucky for me, a couple of my colleagues went out and learned everything they could possibly know about koalas, and they brought all that information back with them. It's not all cute and cuddly and all day long. You know, they're very delicate animals. They're an animal that stresses quite easily. So you need to learn the individuals. They're not really like any other animal I've ever really worked with, but to get into the animal industry, lots of hard work, obviously working hard at school, get some good qualifications, and then try and get a little bit of experience working in zoos and wildlife parks, and eventually you may well become a koala keeper. For me, best thing about being a koala keeper, you go home smelling like eucalyptus every day.
Excellent. And we all love the smell of eucalyptus.
Oh, yeah.
Now, John Merrington, you are lucky enough to hear this every single day with lions roaring, but with the big cats in the nighttime, are they behaved and do they go inside easily?
That tends to depend on the individuals. There's some individuals that come when they're called and others that are more food motivated. But generally, they're very well behaved. Whether we tend to leave them with access out overnight, so whether they're inside or outside depends very much on the weather. And also, depending on the individuals, some surprisingly will prefer different types of weather. So we'll come in the pouring down rain, they've got access to their lovely dry house. And there's some individuals that like the rain and will be mooching around outside in the rain. So
yes.
Yeah, it can vary very much depending on the animal.
Thank you very much. And that was a question from Victoria Calcutt. So hopefully she feels it has been answered well. And Rory Webster asked if you've seen any change in the animal behaviour at the safari since being closed.
We have seen some changes, as we said, to the response to some other questions. We've had the primates, the macaques. We've got over 100 groups of 100 individuals of macaques in there that normally be riding cars, pulling bits off cars. So of course they're moving around looking for food. We give them all sorts of enrichment and forages to look for all the food in their grass. So the keepers keep them entertained in lots of different ways.
Absolutely. And I think Bethany, age 6, with a similar question, but sort of more direct. Are the animals missing our visitors?
I reckon, yes, definitely.
Yes.
They love our visitors, all our visitors.
So Matt, talking of behaviour, one of the animals most like us, Amelia, aged 4, would like to know why the gorillas beat their chest. And we haven't got that. So Matt, if you could just go to your microphone again, and what is a question and answer without technical difficulties?
Anything?
We've got you, yes. So why does a gorilla beat their chest?
So there's a few different reasons that gorillas beat their chests. The most common one is aggression, when they're not very happy with something, when they're trying to let another gorilla know that they're not very happy. But it can be to try and attract a mate, and it can be to try and play. And our 2 youngest gorillas, you and Savedi, they quite like beating their chests and then running off and trying to get the bigger boys to play with them. But it makes a really strange popping noise rather than the beat.
Oh, fantastic. And how have the gorillas been entertained by you without the visitors to watch on the boat?
So we've been trying to put in as many new enrichment items for them as we can, as many things as we can for them to play with, to occupy them. The thing with gorillas is that they only really care about it if there's food involved. So if there's not any food there, they're not really that interested. So we're trying to find different ways of giving them their food, whether it's in a brush head, whether it's in a cardboard box, just different things to make them think a little bit. And then we take the boat out to visit the sea lions, so we head up a couple of times and give them something to look at as well while we're out there.
Absolutely. And that was actually something Nicola Saywell was very interested in, with how you're keeping the sea lions enriched on the boat. So you are taking the boat out?
Yeah, we're quite lucky that 2 of our keepers actually used to work down on the boats. So we have borrowed one of the boats that we take out throughout the day, and then give most of the sea lion fish from the boat. We still do the 2 health checks a day that we normally do, and then most of their food they'll still get thrown from the boat like normal, just to try and keep them entertained.
That's fantastic. I do like that gorillas are driven by food. They're more similar to humans than we think. So we have some questions for John Ovens, and an animal that's not seen in the daytime as active as the sea lions, but James, aged 8, would like to know the names and the ages of our aardvarks.
Oh, great question. Yeah, an animal that don't always see during the day, obviously naturally nocturnal. So we have 3 aardvarks here at Longleat. We have 2 females called Frankie and Nacho. So Frankie is the older of the 2. She is 6, and then Nacho is 4. And we have a young male who arrived at the park last year called Benny, who is 2.5. But even an animal which is nocturnal, they've also been enjoying the sunshine, and they were actually out the other day sunbathing on the sand as well. So even animals that wouldn't normally come out in the day are enjoying the sunshine.
That's brilliant news. And a question that I think we're all wondering, but asked by Josh, aged 11, how are the red pandas doing?
Oh, great question. So red pandas actually don't like the sunshine and the heat. So that's one thing. Obviously, they're an animal that would come from more sort of mountainous regions, used to obviously the cold, the extreme weather. They've also got a thick fur coat. So they're actually an animal that when it is really hot, we have to find ways to keep them cool, which is a little bit opposite to a lot of the other animals. So using things like ice blocks and slates, which we keep in the fridge, just to try and find ways of keeping them cool. But both doing really well. We had a new female arrive a couple of months ago called Maya, who lives with AJ, our resident male, and she has been fully exploring the tree. So we've got quite a unique feature of one of our red panda enclosures that has a tree which is actually outside of the fenced off area. And a few of the keepers were actually on our lunch a couple of days ago, and she was exploring and also hunting some of the wild birds. So that was quite interesting to watch. Just another.
So they are keeping entertained then.
Oh yeah.
That's brilliant. And lots of questions about these animals, John, obviously up at the safari, but especially from Rex, aged 4, who's been seeing them on Animal Park recently and wants to know, how are the warthogs?
The Warthogs doing really, really well. In fact, the keepers gave me an update this week to say the male Warthog is actually hand-fed from the keepers for the first time. So they're really building, or he's really building up that bond with the keepers. So we can't wait for our visitors to see them.
That's brilliant. And now a little bit taller than a warthog, Thomas Lowe wants to know, and actually put you to the test. Can you tell us how tall the tallest and how small the smallest giraffe is?
Good question, Thomas. And we've actually got quite a difference. We've got Thorn, who's our bull giraffe, our male giraffe. He's our tallest. Believe it or not, he's about 17.5 feet, which I'm about 6 feet. You can't see me standing here, but there's about 3 of me standing end on end. Our smallest is a young female we've got. Thea, she's only 8 months old. And she's probably about 7 or 8 foot tall, so just over 1 of me. So quite a difference from our tiny little giraffe all the way up to the big boy.
That's incredible. Thank you very much, John. And Matt, just testing your speaker. Have we got you? Fantastic. So putting you to the test now. Josh, age 6, and Samantha, age 20, wants to know, what is the oldest animal here at Longleat?
Wow. I guess I'd probably say one of the tortoises down in Animal Adventure.
I think John Evans is
I think
nodding.
I used to work down in. Yeah, I think there's some that are in their 80s, so I'd probably say some of the tortoises. I think the oldest one I remember was maybe Amos. So if I had to guess, I'd say Amos.
Well done. I think you've guessed right.
Spot
so
on.
well done. And one more about our fellow primates here. Jason Lee Roberts wants to know, who is the naughtiest on the lake? Is it the gorillas or the colobus monkeys?
I think definitely the colobus monkeys. The gorillas can all be naughty when they want to be, but it tends to be one gorilla will play up at a time, whereas all 7 colobus tend to misbehave all at once and overwhelm you a little bit. A couple in particular, our youngest one is called Wee Wee Dude. He's particularly playful. He tries to jump on you whenever you go out there. And then Kai, one of our oldest, is also quite playful and tries to grab all the food off you as soon as you even enter the house at the minute. So definitely the colobus monkeys.
Amazing. And they're just like acrobats as well. So I can imagine you've got your hands full.
Yeah.
And now a question for you all. Kelly Maron wants to know, what is your favourite animal and why? So going round, Jon Evans, we will start with you.
Oh, that is a really tough one. I've got to be koalas. Obviously, incredible animals. One of my favourites, certainly at the moment. I would say individuals at the park, though, have got to be the hippos. Obviously, lucky enough to be able to work on the boat every so often, and I still get that same buzz and that same bit of excitement when you see them and thrashing around in the water. So, yeah, I would say definitely the hippos.
Amazing. And John Merrington.
That is also a very difficult question because you like them all for very different reasons. I love the tigers and the cubs we've had, and I love the giraffe. You can't fail to stand next to a giraffe and just be awed by its size and its stature. In terms of individuals, surprisingly, I'll probably actually choose our 2 black wildebeest boys. They've got such personality. They're not the biggest things out there, but they think they own that reserve.
Absolutely. Quite right too. And Matt, last but no means least, what is your favourite animal and why?
I think the gorillas are always going to be up there for me, just because of how closely related to us they are. There's so many things that we see them do, which we do ourselves. And they do get to bond with you. When you first start working with them, they're a little bit unsure of who you are. They don't really want to know you, but when you've been with them for a while, they do respond really well. If I had to pick an individual animal, I'd probably go for Kitway, who's one of our colobus monkeys. He's actually the biggest in the group, but he's quite shy. He keeps himself a little bit and tries to keep to the end, so I do feel a little bit sorry for him, so he tends to get a bit of extra food.
So he's certainly not the naughtiest then. Oh, that's brilliant.
Not the naughtiest one, no.
Thank you so much. And that's all we have time for on this session. So thank you to everyone for joining us. From everyone here at Longleat, we really hope to see you soon. And of course, stay safe.